Brave Nigerians, rising every day. Stories of courage.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Femi Morgan. I'm the editor of Brave Nigerians, a flagship of Featured and Brave. And today we are having the presence of the Consul General of the Netherlands, Mr. Michel Deelen. Good morning to Consul Deelen.
Thank you.
My name is Femi Morgan. I'm the editor-in-chief of Brave Nigerians, a platform that is focused on showcasing the best of Nigeria and the interactions of Nigeria with the rest of the world. And beside me is the Consul General of the Netherlands, the Kingdom of the Netherlands. And we have been friends of the Kingdom of the Netherlands for a while. And we are proud to have his presence. So can the public meet you?
Thank you very much. Yes, my name is Michel Deelen. I'm the Consul General of the Netherlands here, based in Lagos.
So let's just I would have said we should start with the highfalutin questions, but let's start with your stay in Nigeria. How has it been? 14 years now.
Yes, because indeed it's I've come to the end of my tenure here, and cumulatively I've indeed spent 14 years in this beautiful country. I came as a junior diplomat in 1999 in Lagos. Then we moved the embassy to Abuja. Subsequently, I was transferred to other countries, did many other things. And 11 years after that, I came back to Lagos in 2014. Spent 5 wonderful years here. Then was transferred to a posting in South Sudan.
Wow.
Which was a short assignment for 2 years. And a bit to my own surprise, but also to my pleasure, I was posted back to Lagos for what turned out to be another 5 years. So altogether about 14 years in Nigeria. And if I wouldn't have enjoyed my work and the people and the surroundings, I wouldn't have stayed that long. So it's been a very good time, I must say.
So what would you say is your defining moment working in the Nigerian space? Because I know that the Netherlands does a lot of work with creatives, entrepreneurs, with investors, with governments, regulators. So what would be that defining moment of your stay as consul?
There are many defining moments. Thank God for that, because it means basically that every day or every week, there's a new challenge in a positive way.
Yeah.
Meeting new people, discussing new things. But I would think clearly one of the highlights of my stay here was last year when we returned from the Netherlands to Nigeria 119 Benin bronzes.
Yeah.
I think that was obviously something that was long overdue, but it took also a long time to basically, get all the museums aligned. And I think that was really a highlight. We brought them from what is called in the Netherlands the Wereldmuseum in the city of Leiden, and they were shipped to Lagos. 5 of them can be seen in the National Museum here, and the rest is in Benin City. And that also felt like justice being done after all these years, after they were obviously looted. The museum in the Netherlands that had them in their possession actually bought them in auctions. So it was not like Dutch soldiers were involved in the looting, but you basically you could easily know where they were coming from.
Yeah.
So if you have something in your possession that belongs to somebody else, you should give it back, and that's what happened last year.
Yeah.
And I think that was clearly one of the highlights of my stay here.
A very important question is the question of leadership. Serving as the leader here in Nigeria and interacting with other leaders across the world and across sectors in the Nigerian space, what would you say is the most defining leadership lesson that you have garnered while working with us in Nigeria?
Leadership is actually a matter of giving the right example, I think, and guiding people. And different people sometimes need different guidance. You have people that you discuss something with on a more maybe intellectual level, and then things happen, things are implemented. Sometimes you have to go more into the details. So I think leadership is crucial, but in a way, I'm Dutch, so the Dutch form of leadership is more in a cooperative way, whereby you sit around the table and you sort of discuss the way in which you want to go.
Yeah.
In the end, obviously, there's one person then says it, and correct, thank you very much, this is the way we're going.
Yeah.
But still, it should be part of the team effort, because I have a wonderful team here in the office, all specialized in different fields: agriculture, renewable energy, infrastructure, waterworks, healthcare. So, that builds also the force of an office, that you have experts who know the field very well. And then you as a leader, or as the person in charge of the office, you can rely on their information, and you can also, if you've been here long enough, in my case, then you also say, okay, but I remember we did this, we did that, we had such and such connections, we tried this, let's try something else. And that's actually a very good way, I think, of working. I had to come back briefly to the question of leadership. Leadership obviously also works good if you work with people who have been learned to challenge you. Because if you only have people who say yes sir, it doesn't. You might go astray, and you don't know it.
Yeah.
And thank God I'm being challenged in the office every single day, and that's a good thing. But I'm thinking of that now that you asked that question, because the other day I was talking about the education system and the incredible importance that education has in any society, and obviously also in the Nigerian society. And I think education is crucial in that, in the combination of leadership, education, economic development, is really very important.
So 14 years, let's talk about the opportunities available to Nigerians. I know that a lot of Nigerians listening to us that will be watching this would wonder what contributions the Kingdom of Netherlands brings literally to the table for Nigerians who are hardworking, who are resilient, who are doing the good things. Of course, we cannot deny that, of course, there are Nigerians who are using the depth of hands. There are a lot of Nigerians who are looking for opportunities. So what are the various opportunities that the Netherlands Consul, through partnerships, has sort of enabled the Nigerian people?
Yes, no, your point on, if you have a population of more than 200 million people, obviously not everybody is great and wonderful, but that doesn't matter. There are so many brilliant, I would say, young Nigerians who are really eager to make the best of things for themselves, for their country. And I had the privilege and the fortune of meeting quite a lot of them. So we focus also on the youth, and what we do in our youth programs is, for example, something like Orange Corners, which is like a business incubator to help young people who already have a business idea to develop it further, to professionalize it, to write business plans, also to see how they can approach investors with their business proposals. And we've been doing that since 2019 together with Faith Foundation, both in Lagos and now also in Ogun State. And I must say, it's actually, I'm always very impressed by what comes out of that. We have some other programs for the youth. One of them is called the Challenge Fund for Youth Employment, whereby we support Nigerian companies who create jobs for young people. And that is in a very wide area of things. It can be in agriculture, sometimes it's in tailoring, it's in telemarketing, it's in computer, in AI.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's really about the volumes of jobs that you need to create. And then we support companies, Nigerian companies in this case, to create these jobs for young people.
Yeah.
In addition, we have in the agricultural space, we have a program called Horti Nigeria, which aim is to professionalize basically horticulture, the growing of tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, mostly in Kano and Kaduna, but also in Oyo and Ogun. And that's also sort of a capacity building program whereby we also involve quite a lot of young people in that, because you know people talk a lot about agriculture, and so do we, but we also know it's not easy to be a farmer. You depend on so many things, whether it's just the weather, but it can also be the price of your commodity, your products, the price of your input.
Yeah.
Security, of course, has become an issue. So we really try to support Nigerian farmers in professionalizing in that way.
Yeah, you've spoken about so much support, but when the average Nigerian thinks of the Netherlands, probably thinks of fish and sea.
Correct.
And the advancements in water and ships, and the advancements in imports. And I think that the audience will also like to know what the Netherlands is doing in that area.
And if you look at our trade statistics, of course, since forever, the number one has been oil and refined products.
Yeah.
Oil goes to the port of Rotterdam, and then for many years, refined products, whether it's diesel or fuel, would come back to Nigeria. Now, with the introduction of the Dangote refinery, obviously we see a change in that pattern, which I think is very, very good. We had with our team the pleasure of visiting the Dangote refinery some 2-3 weeks ago. I must say I was extremely impressed, and that is really going to be a game changer in the whole region, on the whole continent of Africa, and also in relation to trade flows. But nevertheless, there's still a considerable amount of oil, refined products, also liquid gas that is finding its way between the Netherlands and Nigeria. The number two on the trade list is actually cocoa. And because the spike in cocoa prices last year, Nigeria exported for about 700 million euros of cocoa to the Netherlands. And with cocoa, you might not automatically think of the Netherlands, but the region north of Amsterdam is like an international cocoa hub. So the cocoa that arrives there is being further processed, so initial processing in Nigeria, further processing in the Netherlands, and then into some basically industrial chocolate, which is then sold to those who make the fine, fancy chocolates in Belgium, Switzerland, and other countries. So that's a sizable amount of trade. And then indeed, the next one is fish.
Yeah.
The next one is fish, which goes in two directions. Fish export from the Netherlands to Nigeria, but also sizable shrimp export from Nigeria to the Netherlands. There are Dutch-Nigerian companies or Nigerian-Dutch companies that are active in the shrimp business, and they export quite a lot to the Netherlands, to Europe in general. Now, if you add everything up, then the balance is highly in favor of Nigeria. So, from a Dutch point of view, we buy a lot of Nigerian products. We buy Nigerian oil, we buy Nigerian cocoa, we buy Nigerian shrimps. And Nigeria buys less from us than we buy from Nigeria, which I think is fine. Which I think, you know, I don't care in which way that balance goes, as long as we are working on forging these linkages. You know, the trade will follow, and you also see that the investment will follow from that.
Okay, so you've talked about agriculture, and I remember sometime in 2026 there was the Agri-Food Nigeria in March, and the consular, talked about the tangible support it had in innovation. And beyond visibility, what concrete investment commitments or partnership have emerged from this mission for states like Plateau and Lagos? So, do you have, after the agri-food investment program that happened in March 2026, has that cascaded into what you can best call impact?
Yes. I think it has. Of course, these things take time, but we've seen in some cases almost immediate results. You are mentioning Plateau State. So we already many years ago, we actually looked how we could help improve the potato sector in Plateau State. As Plateau State is a huge potato growing area, but the problem was that their stock of potatoes was not renewed. So they kept on using the old potatoes to generate new potatoes. At a certain moment, basically that's depleted and you need new and better varieties.
Yeah.
So during that trade mission, I think big part of that delegation was from the Dutch potato sector. They went to Plateau State. They had already been there before. The governor of Plateau State was in the Netherlands last year, visiting different potato companies, potato farms. So there's really a partnership there, and different containers of trial potatoes were shipped to Plateau State, and I think as we are sitting here, they're being harvested already there.
Oh.
So there's really a visible presence and results of that, and we are going to continue obviously with this to see how we can really spread the growth of good quality potatoes in a place like in a state like Plateau State. So that's just one example. Another example is, we have always a discussion on greenhouses.
Yeah.
Now, if you go to the Netherlands, you will see lots of greenhouses where we grow tomatoes and peppers and so on, and cucumbers. But the greenhouse in the Netherlands is built to keep the plants warm in winter.
Yeah.
Now, we don't need anything to keep plants warm in Nigeria. I mean, obviously. So
God bless.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So you have to look at the specificity of the climate, and it's not because we do something like this in the Netherlands that you should do it like this in Nigeria. Not at all. Every country has
it's usually
their own...
called copy and paste. When you copy a model and you just paste it on a country.
Exactly, and I think that doesn't work.
Yeah.
So we need to see what works in Nigeria, and with respect to greenhouses, or basically net houses or tunnels, in certain cases, that might work. It might work to keep insects out. It might work to protect plants from heavy rain. But you need to define specifically what the purpose is of the use of a certain technology in agriculture. And we're going to set up a sort of a knowledge center on horticulture in the Southwest, which will be set up soon with different universities and also different companies to train people, and also to say, this might work, this will not work. Let's go for the most productive and most efficient thing without it being overly expensive, because that's of course also very often a complaint, and I fully understand that they say, but if we have to buy your technology, it's very expensive. So why should we? Because here you have the market prices, and they are what they are. So we really try to do something that makes sense from an economic point of view.
I don't intend to set you up, Consul Deelen, but Lagos has had interesting flood times.
Yes. And
I remember at the time, the Netherlands government had like a coastal feasibility study with the Lagos State government, and there were outcomes from that. And so my question would be that, so how has the Lagos State government and the Nigerian government adopted the recommendations and the technological advancement that the Netherlands is bringing to Nigeria? The Netherlands is an island country.
Yes, no,
Uh,
indeed.
And it has managed its relationship with nature prominently. And so, have have we been able to leverage our relationship with the Netherlands to manage our flood systems, our coastal systems, our shipping, our boats? Because for many years, we always have reports of boat capsizes. You go to the Netherlands and you have a good time with boat cruises. You go to coastal countries, Italy and the rest, and it's a splendid time on the waters. So,
True.
what has happened?
Well, many things, but obviously not enough, because where we are sitting now, some 2 days ago, this was all flooded. And that's also basically because the island on which we are now is mostly sand filled. And if you do sand filling, you need a good drainage system to make sure that the water ends up in the end in the lowest point. And the lowest point is basically the water around the island. So in this case, it's the lagoon or the creek. And that means you have to make sure that the drainage channels are clean, are accessible, so that the water can really go as fast as possible from wherever it falls into the river, basically. Now, obviously, we had very, very heavy rain over the last month even.
Yeah.
Some systems can't. A lot of systems will not be able to cope with so much rain in such a short time. But of course, there's always room for improvement, and definitely also here. So there are two things that we're looking at. One thing is coastal protection against erosion. Because if you look at the coastline, not only of Lagos State, but of different states in Nigeria, you see that there is erosion, and you see certain villages actually sort of disappearing slowly into the water. And there, indeed, we offered that we would do, and we have done, a pre-feasibility study for coastal protection along the coast of Lagos. That study was finished by the end of last year. It has been handed over to Lagos State. We also need to hand it over to the federal government, obviously, because coastal is a mix of federal and state. And these things take longer than we sometimes want them to take, but that's the same in the Netherlands. Our own infrastructure projects also take time to prepare and time to get permits and licenses and all these things.
Environmental access.
Exactly. So that is what will also happen in this case. But we have good hope that it will take place, because if you look down the West African coast, we are doing the similar things in Benin Republic, in Togo. We're working in Ivory Coast also with coastal protection, together with the government, together with our government, and together in some cases with the World Bank. There's a World Bank program on West African coastal protection, and what we actually try is to see how that can also be implemented in Nigeria. The Dutch government is also willing in that case to fund part of that coastal protection as part of a program that we call Drive. So, because it's an expensive thing, but we try to mobilize our different sources of finance. So that's basically on the coastal protection line. As I said, the study is there now. We have to make further steps. On the inland side, the inland waterways or the drainage, that is something that, of course, how should I say? It requires an effort from all sides, from the government side, from the citizens, from the international partners. Obviously, the government will show you, the drainage channels are blocked by plastic waste.
Yes.
But come to think of it, if I have a bottle or pure water sachet, then where's the garbage can or the dustbin to put it in?
Yes.
So
you have a point.
You need to put things in place you need to have constant maintenance of these drainage channels, because
Yeah.
before you know it, it's, you know, nature, leaves fall inside, trees, whatever. These things have to be continuously monitored. And I think with the rains we've seen now, the urgency to do so has become very evident.
We live in a world where climate change is no longer a rhetoric, and renewable energy is one part. Thank God you've talked about waste. Is one part that the Netherlands has also talked about and, you know, experimented around. At a point, the U.S. government, about a $10 million investment was put in place by the Netherlands government in partnership with Nigeria. And so, for me, how far has that gone? And I put the question more appropriately to say that, how is the consulate facilitating Dutch investments in off-grid solar, water to energy, and green hydrogen sectors?
Let me start by off-grid solar. Actually, well, you can't see it, but on the roofs of these houses, we installed solar panels more than 1.5 years ago. So we're trying to also give the good example of powering our compound here with solar. Solar alone is not enough, we notice, because we also need the gen and sometimes the grid. But we are really trying to sort of bring in companies from the Netherlands in the solar sector to work with Nigerian companies to install more and more, so whether it's solar home systems or it's off-grid solutions.
Will they be cheaper? Because solar is quite becoming expensive at the moment.
Yeah, you know, you depend on the world market there. The issue is that the solar panels themselves are made in China. And obviously, you know, when they are subsidized in the country where they are being produced, the price goes down. But if that country decides not to subsidize anymore, the global price goes up. Now, solar panels are also sort of assembled in Nigeria. So it's a matter of the ones we have here are actually assembled in Nigeria. So it's a matter of finding the right balance, which approach can bring down the price. Do you have to import the whole thing from China? Do you import elements and put it together here? And we are working with the Rural Electrification Agency, REA, the one in Abuja, a lot to provide also villages with off-grid solutions, also for productive use. So not just the light in your house, but also the electricity that can power a small mill or any other plant, or schools or small clinics, so that it's not just your own house, but that you can also sort of make money by providing electricity to small companies. So that's one part of this.
Waste to energy.
Waste to energy is a project that we are working on with Lagos State. As we know very well, there is a lot of waste generated in Lagos State, and it's always a challenge to see what can be done. But something needs to be done. So there are different solutions, different ways of looking at it. I know some of the Lagos State waste is actually incinerated into the Lafarge cement plant. Some of the waste is recycled. I know some people are looking also at biogas. What we were looking at and what we are still looking at is incineration of the rest waste. So the waste that you basically cannot recycle anymore, you cannot turn into compost or anything. And there are plans to see if we can build such a plant in Ikpe, close to the landfill over there, which then would generate electricity, which would be sold to off-takers that there's a deal with upfront. Our own role as a consulate is basically to have a brokerage role to bring the parties together, Lagos State, the party from the Netherlands that has the knowledge of this specific installation, which is actually an installation that is functioning in the city of Amsterdam, and then also financing. I guess you can guess the issue is always financing. So the parties among themselves are now looking for financing, and we've been told that they actually have made progress. In that line. So I'm quite hopeful on that. I can add one other thing on financing. We noticed as the Dutch government that it is very difficult to find financing for many projects, not just a sort of from the development side, but also simply business projects. Find banks to finance your project in Nigeria can sometimes be a challenge. So the Dutch government created an institution called Invest International. And Invest International has set up an office in Lagos already over 2 years ago. Their office is in Axis Bank. And they are basically there to provide all kind of ways of financing, whether it's loans or investment or equity or guarantees, for either Dutch companies who do business in Nigeria or Nigerian companies who do business with the Netherlands. And the idea is that it can be made easier. At least you will tackle the financial hurdles that are there.
So a famous poet once said, "Water, water everywhere," and there's no gainsaying that we'll always talk about water when we talk about the Netherlands. I remember that the Netherlands, sometime last year, was engaging the Ministry of the Blue Economy. At that fora, there were consolidations on what the ministry and the Netherlands were supposed to achieve on both sides. Like you always said, that Nigeria seemed to gain a lot from the Netherlands than the Netherlands gained from Nigeria.
I don't know if that's true.
That's what she said, that we make a lot, that we sell a lot to the Netherlands.
Okay. Yeah. No, from a trade perspective.
From a trade perspective. So beyond oil, what steps are being taken to help Nigerian SMEs meet EU standards for non-oil exports?
What we do there is we have a program called CBI, and CBI is a Dutch government entity that has been working in Nigeria for a long time with, amongst others, the Nigeria Export Promotion Council, but also a lot with the private sector. So, you know, at a certain moment you have to sort of pick a few sectors because it's, you know, it's huge. So the sectors that were picked to help Nigeria in its export were ginger, shea butter, and cashew nuts.
Ginger?
Yes. Now the issue with ginger is
ginger had a problem at the time.
Exactly. Ginger had a serious problem not so long ago. Some kind of ginger blight, ginger disease, which sort of collapsed the whole ginger production
market.
So we are working on assisting Nigeria on setting that back up again. I'm not a ginger expert, but from what we understood is that the fields where this disease was can, for the time being, no longer be used for ginger. So you need to find other areas to plant ginger. And Nigerian ginger is of an extremely good quality. So Nigerian ginger has a very, very good international reputation and is very much sought after on the international market. But the volumes are lacking at the moment. So this was sort of a coincidence. We had this ginger program working for a number of years, and then towards the end of the program, this happened. So we are now looking at how we can continue and how we can assist Nigerian ginger farmers in sort of starting again and making sure that their products also reach the international market. So that's impressive. That's one example of how we try to assist in exports. And there are some more. I mean, I think Nigerian exports are really on the increase in the non-oil sector. Sometimes you see it. Sometimes, you know, some people call it diaspora trade. So products that cater to the Nigerian diaspora, whether in the US, the UK, or the Netherlands, but which I think is a very good way to start. because then you already build up your networks, and from there on you can spread it and you can sort of grow into much more non-oil exports. That's in goods. Of course, in services, there are huge chances. A simple example, Nigerian computer programmers who work from here, who work for companies in Europe, in the programming or in AI. That is sort of, we call that export of services. And that's actually also a huge market.
A lot of young people are finding technology as the gateway out of poverty, and we've always said it that the Kingdom of the Netherlands is interested in investing so much in the young people, and you've also mentioned some of the creative hubs that the Netherlands has invested so far. What will come to mind is, can you give us like 2 or 3 references of young people who have really taken up their skill, improved their skill in the technology hubs of the Netherlands, products that they've developed, and what they're doing at the moment?
No, we have actually 2 very good cases in the medical sector, whereby young Nigerians have developed different tools to do analysis, so to check if whether it's for malaria or TB or any other disease. So a very portable, small kit that can be used there where there are no fancy healthcare facilities, or just smaller clinics, or even just less than the smaller clinics. To do diagnostics on what kind of illness do you have, how can we treat it, what can be the best way. And these are Nigerians who actually studied in the Netherlands, who have been working on this, on something to help their own country, and now are trying to do the marketing and the sales in Nigeria, and we're helping them with them. Another one is also in that line, a Nigerian young entrepreneur who has developed a scale. So you stand on the scale, you connect it to your fingertips with some wires, and it will do your body mass, your weight, the rest, and together with an app, it will also sort of give you advice on your health situation. And that's a product that is now also being distributed in Nigeria through different pharmacies. So I think those are interesting examples of Nigerians who traveled abroad, in this case to the Netherlands, and who sort of could make use of the technology that we have there to create a product that is then being reintroduced into the Nigerian market.
To solve problems.
Here.
Yeah. Very interesting. Let me digress a bit. You seem to be someone who is in love with the Nigerian arts. You are friends to Seun Kuti, to Made Kuti, to Femi Kuti, to a lot of creatives that I know personally. And there's hardly any major arts and culture event in Nigeria that you don't show up. What's the fascination about Nigerian arts and arts and culture?
Yeah. It's maybe it's a personal thing, and maybe it's not only Nigerian arts. I would be interested in arts anywhere, but the Nigerian arts sector is so expressive and is so sort of you see where it's coming from, and you see why it's heading in a certain direction. That I think for me as a person, I feel sort of enriched when I interact with Nigerian artists, because let's be very honest, life in Nigeria is not always easy. I can sit here comfortably here in this garden on this chair, but I'm very much aware of the fact that the statistics simply, the poverty in Nigeria, the way in which people have to struggle every day, how to get to work, how to find a job, security, all these things make it also that that sort of people also have to sort of fight for their rights and almost for their existence, which creates in a way also an art scene, but also a business scene actually, of eager people who have a message to tell, a story to tell. So because people have a story to tell, it makes it interesting for me to sort of say, okay, but what is that? How can I, as a person, learn from that? How can I relate to that? When people ask me how I position myself in this, I always give like a very simple answer. I'm the audience. I have huge respect for people who can do things that I cannot do. And I am not a painter. I'm not a musician. I'm not a dancer or choreographer at all. I'm not a filmmaker. So people who sort of master those arts sort of automatically gain my respect by, wow, you have created something. You are telling a story. And because this is Nigeria, where everything is highly intense, the story will also be intense. And you were mentioning the Kuti family. Of course, if you look at Fela, he had a story to tell in those times against those people who were in power at the time. But that story is still valid till today.
That's interesting. That's interesting because I remember seeing you go to the slums to also Bariga, Iwaya, and other places that maybe one would be wondering why the consul will leave this lush, beautiful place and go to the slums to witness performances and dances. But I'm impressed by your love for Nigeria. Thank you so much for sharing with us your ideas and your process. I would like to ask some few other questions. We've talked about financing, so I wouldn't want to bother you on financing. We've talked about let's talk about education.
Yes.
Education and skill. Yes, a lot of NGOs are around, a lot of agencies are around, but there's a deficit. The deficit seems to continue to widen because of infrastructure, because of insecurity. I don't want to always put the blame on the government, but policy is also a big challenge when it comes to education. Would you say that the Netherlands has helped? The Netherlands is not the Nigerian government, so we are not putting it on you. But has it helped to reduce, that deficit in a way?
Let me start by education in general, because I think education is ever so crucial for the development of any country. And I mean good quality education. I've traveled a lot around Nigeria and sometimes you see a school, there has been a storm, the roof was blown off, or whatever, something happened, no windows. I think we're not so much talking about putting a new roof on the school, which is of course also very, very important and should happen, but it is the quality of the teachers. And I think as a government, you have a responsibility, especially in primary and secondary, to make sure that the teachers are well trained to give the best form of education to the young Nigerians. In my view, the quality of a teacher is actually more important than the quality of your roof. Of course, both should be good. Now, why am I saying this? Because if you want to move further as a country, and you want to sort of professionalize your agriculture, which you need to, every country in the world that is in a development trajectory has sort of had a green revolution, whereby agriculture is mechanized, whereby you really professionalize the way in which you produce, because then you can produce more and you can start into processing.
Yes.
Now, if you want to industrialize further and set up industries, you need literate people. Both for agriculture and for industry, you need literate people. You need people who have been schooled. You need people who are curious in nature also, that not just that you know how to read and write and how to count, but also that you can ask yourself questions like, why is this happening? Why is something like this and not like that? And that only happens if people are educated. So if there's a problem with education, there will automatically be a problem with economic growth. And that's something that as a nation you actually do not want. We see this insecurity rising in the country. I think that you can also partly relate that to an education issue, because if people don't see economic development, they don't see a better future for themselves, they take the wrong exit and become armed robbers or kidnappers or whatever. Maybe if they would have had a good schooling, they might have taken a different avenue. Look at Boko Haram. Boko Haram literally means, education, Western education is bad. Doesn't that tell us that if we want to fight Boko Haram, we should invest in education? I think education is so crucial to any country, but also to Nigeria at the junction in which Nigeria is at the moment. I must say, on the other side, I'm always very impressed by the people I meet who, despite the condition of the education system, have managed to sort of educate themselves and are very smart. But that if you have that huge population, you need a very well functioning school system. Now, to come back to your question, what the Netherlands can do about that, it is of course a little bit limited, because where we come in with our activities is more towards the vocational training and towards and that's a lot of that is linked to agriculture. So we've been training research also, but training of farmers, those are things that I think we've trained now more than 10,000 farmers in the north and also in the south. So that's something that, but that cannot compensate for a good primary and secondary education system.
I'm also fascinated by farming. I don't own plots, but I also have a small farm of my own. So I understand that you need to feed to learn. And what the Netherlands is doing with the structures that it's putting in place is that at least those who are feeding us are well educated enough to put things in place to give us the right crop. Perhaps that can then be translated to having well-fed children who can go to schools, and when well-fed children go to school, they learn better.
Exactly.
So,
very, very true.
So I really appreciate that. I want you to tell us a personal story of the culture clashes that you experienced from when you came to Nigeria the first time, and now that you are many years married to a Nigerian filmmaker, curator, documentary filmmaker. Share with us the deep and personal culture clashes and how you have been able to navigate that.
Well, let me start by the food. As the cuisine is also part of the culture. So in the Netherlands, spicy food is not automatically on our menu. The traditional Dutch kitchen was basically quite plain. Mashed potatoes, gravy, piece of meat, and some vegetables. Of course, fish. And fish on Friday. Now we have, you find international restaurants everywhere in the Netherlands. But what I had to get used to when I came to Nigeria first was the level of spice, the level of pepper in the food. That's really not easy for an Oyibo. You know the song Oyibo Pepper. So it was and it's true. It's very, very true. Of course. So slowly, but it took me a long time. But now at least I can eat pepper soup without falling off my chair. So it's depending on the level of. But anyway, so that was a different. So I would say, my wife's food was very different from my own food, and we're sort of slowly growing together. One of the other maybe culture clashes or difference in culture was also that you learn how to say no. In the Netherlands, maybe Dutch people are known to be quite direct, but there are not very many occasions in the average life of a Dutch student or where you sort of really have to say no. But when you come to especially a city like Lagos, if you don't know how to say no, there'll be nothing left of you. They'll say, "Oh, nice jacket, can I have it? Oh, what about your shoes? What about?" So you have to be much more firm in saying, "Yes, I like you too, but no." So these are things true. You become much more assertive when you live in Nigeria. Now, and another thing. You see, and I sometimes make this comparison, that's why I sort of advocate for student exchange between the Netherlands and Nigeria. Students in the Netherlands are people in Europe in general. They face challenges, but not the challenges that people are facing here. So they primary school, secondary school, some go to university, some have to work to pay their student loans, but then they work in a pub or something, and it's all good. It's good. And if there is a problem, the government will provide you with scholarships or with loans or with subsidies, or if you don't have a job, the government will provide you with an unemployment benefit. Now, that type of system also sort of reduces the necessity to be very eager. While in the Nigerian system, if you're not eager, if you are not a go-getter,
if you're not resilient.
Yeah, exactly. If you're not resilient, then you're nowhere. So, to bring Dutch students to Nigeria to see
their counterparts.
Yeah, and to see that go-getter mentality. I think is very interesting, and we also bring students from Nigeria to the Netherlands, and that's great in the framework of knowledge exchange and to see how things can also be done. But I think so we're talking about culture and difference in culture. That eagerness that young people have here, I sometimes miss that. In Europe, sometimes, not all. I mean, there are obviously also eager people in Europe, but here there's much more a necessity to be that, to take on that role.
So, have you been rechristened? Were you given a Nigerian name at any time?
I've not been rechristened, but long time ago, a very good friend of mine gave me the name of Omotunde.
Omotunde.
So.
And you've just hit that so that Nigerians will know. Who exposed you? Who exposed that? We are moving closer to the end of this conversation. And we've talked about a lot. You've also talked about investments, more or less Nigerians who bring solutions back home. But would you like to broaden that to talk about investors by Nigerians in diaspora, especially those living in the Netherlands? How has the Netherlands consular in Nigeria helped Nigerians who have established in the Netherlands to duplicate their business in Nigeria or to bring their business back home? That's important for a population that is over 250 million Nigerians. 250 million citizens. It's also important for a country that has a huge unemployment deficit. What is your take on that?
I think we have to work a lot more on that because, I'm always sort of have that discussion, like we talk about Nigerian investments, Dutch investments in Nigeria, and there are plenty of them. But then if I flip that, the Nigerian investments in the Netherlands are in a certain way limited There are some Nigerian, like the Nigerian unicorns. They
Yeah.
sort of, they have also offices in the Netherlands. But I really wish to see a lot more of that, because that is what really forges the ties between two countries. Not just if companies of one country invest in the other country, but also the other way around. And I think it's been something that we let's say that is still high on the list of things that we should be focusing on in the next couple of 5 years, because so far it has not many, apart from the examples that I gave in the healthcare sector, and some Nigerian companies bought Dutch companies, but it's small, and it should actually be more. And I'm actually hopeful. If you look at the way things are going now, with let's say Nigeria also has its own multinational companies.
Yes.
And Nigeria has a group of quite wealthy people who invest a lot in Nigeria, which I think is a very good thing, but also invest outside of Nigeria. So there, we are trying to also promote the Netherlands as a country in which you can invest, and where we can also exchange knowledge and information on that.
I want to digress a bit, and I'm saying digress because sometimes I like to ask questions that the interviewer is really not prepared for. Where does Netherlands stand in the Iran, Israel, Ukraine, Russia imbroglio that is playing out in the world? And especially Nigeria is interested in all of that because it affects trade. The oil trade, the price of petrol, which cascades down to the average price of getting down here, people going to their workplaces and all. It's a bit political and dicey to peg oneself, as consul. But where does Netherlands stand in all of the imbroglios that are happening in the world, especially Israel and the people in the Levant, Ukraine and Russia, and even America, and even the emergence of the new America under Trump?
The Netherlands always positions itself as a sort of a country that really promotes international law and human rights. I myself, I studied international law, so I'm basically a lawyer by background, with a specialization in both international trade law and international human rights law. So what happened in Ukraine was the invasion of a sovereign nation by another country. So yes, we condemn that, and we are supportive of Ukraine also in a broader context, in a European context.
Yeah.
And it's of course it's incredibly it's a disaster to have a war again on the European continent. It's a disaster to have a war anywhere, but I think as Europeans we also have the responsibility to sort of make sure that we end this type of war, and that we basically make sure that Ukraine gets back its sovereignty in that context. What happens in Iran, different things happen every day as far as I now see, but it has a tremendous effect on the global trade. And that's just statistics, but it has an effect on people too. Nigeria is in a blessed position that it has its own oil and gas reserves, and that it's exporting, and that it's in a certain way actually benefiting from the high oil price. And I hope these revenues are used in a very good way, for example, by investing in education. But this is something that that should come to an end very soon. A famous Dutch scholar by the name of Hugo de Groot, long time ago, wrote a document on what was called Mare Liberum, so the free seas, which is also basically at the basis of the International Convention on the Law of the Seas, that these type of streets, like the Strait of Hormuz and other ones, should be open for international trade. It doesn't belong to this country, it doesn't belong to that country. And what we see now about what's happening now, both the countries in the Gulf are suffering, the countries downstream, India, China. Having issues with supply. So nobody benefits from this.
Yeah. Okay. So I know you don't want to talk about Israel.
It's not that I don't want to talk about Israel, but
the US.
I don't think I would have anything to add to that conversation. I think everybody can see for themselves what is happening.
That's an interesting take on international diplomacy. I never it just came off the cuff of my head to really look at what the Netherlands have about international diplomacy. There are many questions here that you have touched one or two, and clearly the Dutch EU policy on the Sahel would be the question that would easily follow this. I know that the Netherlands has a clear position on the Sahel, and I remember that sometime in 2026 January, there was an engagement between the Permanent Secretary of Nigeria's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Netherlands Sahel envoy. I think it was Robert Zimmerman.
Yes, exactly.
Zimmerman.
Yes.
To discuss counter-terrorism, migration challenges, and maritime security. I think that the question that will play out is how is Netherlands helping to shape the EU-Africa policies? And after that, we'll talk about visas, because Nigerians want to talk about visas.
No problem with that. Of course, when we talk about the Sahel and the Netherlands, we have to realize in all humility that the Netherlands is a small country. I mean, statistically, we are somewhat the 16th or 17th country on the list if you look at GDP. So therefore, in trade matters, we are very significant. But it's always a challenge to translate that into policy or into action in the political field, whereby some problems are so sizable that nobody can solve that on their own. So I'm happy you mentioned the European Union. So these are things that we have to approach in an EU context, or maybe even in a broader context, but definitely in an EU context, how we can assist into stabilizing what happens in the Sahel. Our opinion is indeed to keep on talking. Because we know what happened. 3 countries, quite sadly, had military coups and decided to leave ECOWAS. I think those are quite sad events. But it's no good just saying, oh, well, too bad for you, we'll forget about you. We're not forgetting about these countries. We are continuing to engage with these countries. We have embassies in Mali, in Burkina, and in Niger.
Wow.
And we continue to sort of see what we can do within that framework. But of course, what you see happening in those areas, in terms of insecurity, in terms of fundamentalism, is something that needs to be tackled, but that needs to be tackled in an international context.
Yeah. So let's talk about visas. We are very many people, and like you said, we go through a lot as people. Interesting times have also made Nigerians consider migration, like the times of General Buhari in 1984, 85. There's this desire to get out of the country and probably make the best out of lemons. So what are the what we would call the non-violent migration steps to get out of the country through Netherlands. I know Nigerians are very, very interested in the UK and the US because of deep relations. Netherlands seem to be that quiet friend of Nigeria with little travel options. Or am I wrong?
We have about 10,000 Nigerians living in the Netherlands and doing well. But indeed, on migration, you know, I'm happy that you mentioned at least the official, the legal ways of doing so, because the illegal ways are really horrible. I have talked to several Nigerians who came back, who tried that trip through the desert and then by boat to Europe. And I'm ever so grateful that I could talk to these people, that they're still alive, because that's a life-threatening option, and it will not bring you any good things. People will make use of you, abuse you, extort you. So that's really, I would say, absolutely don't.
And you will not be protected by the system in that other country because you don't have papers.
Exactly, because you don't have papers. So if you manage to get there, or if you have a visa and you overstay, you find yourself in a very precarious situation whereby you cannot have an official job. You don't know the next time the police will check you. You know, they'll send you back to Nigeria or wherever country you come from. So please do it in the official way. Now, what are the official options? For tourists, there's the tourist visa, which we call a visa for short term, which is less than 90 days in a year. We are doing renovation in our office here because we are issuing now, since little over a year, what we call MVV, sort of temporary residence permits for the Netherlands, which is for students. So for people who stay longer than 90 days in a year in the Netherlands, students and knowledge workers. Now, students is obviously the people who study at university and do research and schooling and all these things. Now, knowledge workers is people who have a contract with a company in the Netherlands, and then the company in the Netherlands applies for their visa. So the physical application doesn't happen here, but the application happens in the Netherlands. The company applies in the Netherlands with the Dutch Immigration Service for a work permit and a residence visa, and once that is all approved, we issue that here. So those are the lines that are basically open now, either as a student or as a knowledge worker. We have consultations with the Nigerian government every year, bilateral consultations on a high level, which we do on three issues: trade and investment, political cooperation, and migration. Consular affairs and migration. So every year we have this discussion to see what can be done, and I think now within the EU context, it's important to not just look at Nigeria and Netherlands, but also EU Netherlands or EU Nigeria. There was a visit recently of the EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs, Madam Callas, who came to Nigeria, and their migration was also discussed. So there are avenues, there are opportunities, but please make use of the official. One problem we always have in Nigeria is disinformation, misinformation, and as the elections come close to its official voting process, we would probably, witness that as well. I know that the Netherlands has invested a bit in the disinformation, anti-disinformation project, and I would like you to talk about that, and especially your investments in the Nigerian media through the RRTC and other media related workshops and investments. I must say I'm not an expert in that because most of these projects are funded from the Dutch embassy in Abuja or from our headquarters in the Netherlands. But I used to deal with these programs when I was working at the embassy itself. And yes, we have done training for Nigerian journalists on indeed identifying fake news and real news, and which is more and more difficult nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, AI can be a blessing, but AI can also be a major disaster.
Yeah.
And I'm still in between in my line of thinking. I don't think AI is the solution to all our problems, and I also think that AI actually at the moment generates quite a lot of, to be very honest, rubbish that doesn't make sense and that people should not believe. But in the way of journalism, 2 days ago I was on Professor Shinka's birthday. I was at the Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism lecture, and we've been supporting them and other organizations in the investigative journalism corner quite a lot over many years. Also some other organizations that we work with in relation to internet freedom. So yeah, we try to sort of see where we can chip in, where we can assist, because that freedom that the journalist has is extremely important. It's also important that it's used well, and it's also important that you know, that people dare to ask the next question. And I sometimes give the example that when I read an article in a Nigerian newspaper, I very often see the journalist writing that somebody from the government or so has sort of revealed or exposed, or you know, that I don't know, that a road will be fixed.
Yeah.
And the use of the language as if something that the government says that it's suddenly a surprise or it's like a revelation.
Sure.
While it shouldn't be, it's just an announcement. Yeah. But you can already see in the way in which the language is used that probably the journalist finds him or herself sort of excluded from the information.
Yeah.
And I think that access to information is very crucial in any society. But of course, very important in a democratic society like Nigeria, whereby you should have the press being in a position to sort of interrogate, investigate, challenge. That brings me back again to education, because the people should be educated, the journalists should be educated. So the training courses with Radio Netherlands also sort of fit into that. Yeah.
So you are going to a much senior role in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, and we will miss you in Nigeria, no doubt. But the big question would be, at that senior role, you would also likely tackle the issue of the Security Council and how the Netherlands and Nigeria has advocated that Security Council needs to be reformed. How clear is the Netherlands about reforming the Security Council, the UN Security Council, and what advantages would the reformed multilateral council do for the world?
Well, you know, the Security Council as it is today is, of course, a reflection of the power situation after the Second World War. And we have moved on since then. And we have actually moved on in a very positive way. The world has developed, economies have grown, countries have become more important. So obviously there needs to be a new sort of reflection of what the situation is today.
Yeah.
And this is a long-standing discussion, but I think that the discussion requires more and more urgency, because we see at the moment how difficult it is, or sometimes even impossible, to make the international system work. So we do have an official position paper on that, I must say, because I was doing trade promotion here.
As a friend of the Netherlands, what should we expect from the new consul? I know that it's duty to, because if we, as Nigerians, we wouldn't want you to go. But what should we expect from the new consul the new consul of Nigeria?
Before I answer that question, I just want to say something about your previous question, whereby you said I was moving to much more important.
Much more senior.
But being Consul General in Lagos is a very, in my view, it's a very important position. It's a senior position. Amongst the Consul Generals that we have, it's actually ranked quite up there. So, because Nigeria is this crucial, important country on the African continent that we should definitely not neglect, not forget. Obviously, we won't, but whereby the relations need to intensify more and more, and that's exactly what is happening, and that's exactly what I hope that my successor will also do. He will arrive in September. He's our present ambassador in the Dominican Republic. So I think we should not worry. The relations on the economic front, the relations in the cultural and the art space will definitely continue. And he will make sure that things grow and things rise. I'm not worried about that. That will be very, very well taken care of.
At this time, we want to say a very big thank you to the consul for giving us your time. At this time, I know you are trying to do a lot of handing over, and there's a lot of renovations going on at the embassy. And giving us that time to come and engage you has been a blessing. You have been a blessing to the Nigerian community. Personally, I can say that because I know some of the efforts that you put in the technology space, in the business ecosystem, and especially in the arts. And we will miss you terribly, but we know that you will be in a good place. Special thanks to Uche Wadinachi, who has been the back end handling the camera. He's also a spoken word poet, he's a broadcaster, and he's someone who is also a lover of the arts. And to the Brave Nigerian team, whose the platform is a flagship of Fairchild and Brave, we say thank you. And to our audience, we hope that we'll be able to do this across platforms and talk to very, very crucial and important people in our creative, economic, diplomatic space. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very, very much. And let me close by saying that Nigeria has also been a blessing to me. So that's mutual. I will miss the Nigerian people. I will not miss the power cuts, the go-slows, the bumps in the roads, but I will miss Nigerians and the papacy.
Thank you so much.